Newsmax contributor. He's been a speaker, book writer, author, all these things that he hopefully will tell you all about. Larry Bell, come on up.
It was a good omen. I left Houston this morning. Jolly as rain. Just blinding rain. So it was a great omen. The sky parted, blue sky, puffy clouds. I knew I was heading in the right direction.
I heard
I want to also tell you that I've been here before. Had the pleasure of speaking with many of you before. I got in contact with someone you know named Georgia, and she's been really a yeoman. I remember a few years ago we were really fighting the Agenda 21 and the implications of that. And I spoke about some of those issues a few years ago. And, I'm really busy. So I don't do a lot of speaking that involves travel. I'll mention I've written over 600 articles for Forbes and Newsmax the past for a few years. I think 7 books. I've got 20 graduate students in a program I started 40 years ago at the university, which is the only program in the world with space architecture. And I was pleased that last week NASA created an Office of Space Architecture with a space architect who graduated from our program 10 years ago. And so that's kind of where I live. I live in academia. I don't brag about it a lot. But I continue to be very active, doing a lot of stuff. I brought some books tonight I want to talk briefly about. I write about a lot of different topics, and I guess I wrote about 300 articles for Forbes. I've written a few more than that for Newsmax. I'll be on the Michael Savage show Friday, tomorrow when I come back. So I get a lot of, I think it's at 3:30, I'm not sure what, I think it's live, I'm not certain, so I'll get back with that. But I write about a lot of different topics, and I've written a couple of books on the climate hoax. The first one was dedicated to Al Gore, who mentioned the internet made the book possible, and mentioned facts made it necessary. And so that won me a lot of, you can imagine, a lot of friends in the liberal side. When you write a book, and these, we live in vicious times, and if you write a book that's politically incorrect, there are trolls out there that all they do. I used to think they just lived in their parents' basement. But it's more organized than that. And so what they find are trigger words, and then they will slime a book. They won't read it. But on Amazon, they'll give it a 1 rating and so on. It takes a lot of 5s to pull a 1 up. And so, we see this kind of politics. I've got 2 books. One came out earlier this year. Another one I've just seen. I'll show you I got only 6 copies of the advance, so it'll be out next week. What I'd like to offer, quite a deal. If you will, just a good faith understanding, I'll give you, on the new book, I'll send you a copy, I'll sign it to whomever you like, and it will cost you nothing if you just put in a review on the book. Write a review that the book earns in your mind. Don't write a review unless you've read the book. Try to read it, I'm not buying good reviews. But having, it's the best way to help a book is to show that people read it, and it resonates with them. I brought some books, the earlier books that are out, and I brought a few of them, actually, most of what I have. You can also have those, and I'll sign them, and I'm not going to charge you for them. Just with, your own sense of, I'll write a review, I'll read the book, post a review on Amazon. And that's, I don't make money in books, I don't care about that. For me, writing is a learning experience. I just show you the covers. Well, you see them out front. This is Reinventing Ourselves book, and it just came out. I don't have a copy of it yet. I'm going to talk a little bit about it tonight. The weaponization of artificial intelligence and the internet. I'm currently working on a third book, which is probably out early next year. I'm thinking it's called Cyber Warfare. And I find that the books I'm writing on the subject are getting darker and darker. Not because I want them to, but the first book on reinventing ourselves, when I wrote it, and like so many other things, I write because it gives me a chance to step back and kind of look at things that are happening so that I can try to understand them. And it's an incentive to do a lot of research and look at a lot of materials. I tend to research things a lot. I tend to be very, diligent about sources and listening sources, and I try to be not sensationalist, but try to be objective and try to understand things. In the first book about reinventing ourselves, it is realizing how rapidly, in my life, and unbelievably how so many things are changing in the way and even anymore people look at their cell phones. And they're texting, and they're Skyping, and these aren't all bad things. But how this has been absolutely transformative. And we think of, for example, the impact on future careers. If you have children or grandchildren, you think, well, where are the opportunities going to go? Well, it's not just them. It's greatly impacting the fields of law, medicine, everything else. Because so many things now are being done by algorithms. And systems with machine learning get really, really smart. And so, unlike the Industrial Revolution, which was kind of linear, the change over industries and so on, was a long process that took a very long period of time, where you had the automation, mechanization things, where it was really the revolution where the agriculture revolution became possible because of the industrial revolution. Now we have farm equipment that could do 10 times less people to have a farm and to have productive agriculture. Now, all these things built, but the information revolution is exponentially faster, and it's not a revolution. Every field is metastasizing. Every field has AI that's expanding those opportunities and those changes. I have a really impressive lot of slides I can show you tonight, and I'll show you some. But I realize there's no way I'm going to get through a whole lot of slides and go through all these things. I'd rather talk to you about some things and hopefully talk with you about some things, because you're all living in the same world I am. I'm sure you say, well, where's all this going? Some will say, well, where's it going in terms of my life or my children's life? How do you, first of all, what's happening is an equal opportunity impactor. Yes, automation is going to affect a lot of people in more labor-intensive industries, but it's going to disproportionately affect the labor-intensive people. You can mechanize and automate fast food in a large city, metropolitan area. But in the country, it doesn't pay. I mean, you have affordable labor and people who really want the job. You have high school kids and then others that want the job. Where it's actually more economical to hire people to do these things rather than have a machine do them. It's a whole lot better public relations for the community. We have, I believe, I don't know how linear to go into this, but I think if we look at these transformations, I think they're going to have a tremendous political influence demographically in terms of how people vote, how people live. One of the things that really I find somewhat terrifying, and it's not so different than Agenda 21 that we were talking about a few years ago, smart cities. Boy, are they going to be smart. You know, your electric meter is going to be connected with everything else. It connects with everything else. And believe you me, I believe there's going to be energy rationing. You say, well, you know, we have to have energy justice now. We haven't built enough windmills, you know, or sunbeams. I mean, we have to, you know, we've killed the petroleum industry and we've shut down the nuclear power. And God knows we can't have dam sites anymore because they're killing fish. And you know, and we have too many people out there stabbing wells with plastic straws. You know, and we've got to change all this. It's going to be so much more efficient. We're just going to wire everybody together. And you do your electric man say, you know, you're using too many BTUs. You know, you can't. You're an energy center. And so we're going to have to put a premium on your energy bill. We'll give you so many BTUs. You can't live in a single family dwelling anymore. It's very inefficient. You need to live in an ant farm like we have a mine for you. And have automated cars come and drive you around. Forget about driving your pickup truck with the pumpkins in the back. You know, I think it's going to be, it's scary to me. We say, well, yeah, but we're getting convenience and we're getting security. Who cares about these? You know, first we have cameras and stoplights. Well, we need it. You know. I mean, people say, no, you have more current collisions. That's why they took them out of Houston. You know, but all we have facial recognition. No one feels safer now. Yeah, God, I feel safe. No, I don't have. You know, I'm sure that 1.4 billion people in China feel a lot safer, knowing that they can be identified now within 2 seconds, according to what their own government said. And I'm sure glad they can catch the guy who didn't have his dog on leash, you know, and put his garbage in the wrong receptacle. So he got docked on his social merit next year. This stuff is scary. This stuff is really scary. And it's happening very, very fast. One of the things that makes it really terrifying to me is that Silicon Valley social media companies are so huge. They have so much money. $1 billion. Can you imagine companies now have $1 billion? A few years ago, they weren't even in the top listings of commercial companies. Now they got $1 billion in net assets, and they're global. You know, they're linked in with, you know, they're doing beta testing in Africa and Venezuela. What, $700 million they paid to set up a facial recognition program? That's really encouraging, isn't it? And a lot of the companies that are our companies have been working with them, and they're kind of getting slapped down a little bit. But the amount of power, and you think of the power they have to drive algorithms, to decide what comes up fastest on Wikipedia, you know, everything you do, you know, is your cell phone listening to you? Yeah, you bet it is. Is, you know, and you say, well, you know, I don't care so much about, you know, what do I care about? Creating a little more privacy. Hey, I'm not doing anything wrong. What do I care if, you know, Siri what I'm saying in the bedroom, you know? She can't possibly listen to all this conversation at once. But I don't like the idea. I mean, and the problem is we can't uninvent this stuff. We can't uninvent it. And I think what's, you know, it's kind of like climate. Get used to it. Live with it, you know. I write a lot about climate. I know a lot about climate. And it's always been a political scam to control energy. And if you control energy, you control everything. And that's all it is. It's that simple. I've written 2 books on this subject. Pretty big books. Among other things. But, you know, this, we're trading away, you know, the book I have in it, weaponizing, you know, this is kind of an amalgamation I'm talking about tonight, kind of merging a couple books. But it's a boiling frog. Well, we kind of adjusting to all this. We say, well, you know, it's heating up a little bit more, and hey, just keep adjusting our body temperature, and you know, I get a little more of my privacy, a little more, you know, and I'm getting more security, getting more convenience. I can Skype with the grandkids, and that's not all bad. You know, I can have a circle of friends that share an interest with me now, and a lot of people who are alone now can connect virtually with other people, and it's global and it's good for business. There's a lot good about this. But at the same time, it's like that frog. And you reach the point where you can't jump out of that pan. And maybe we can't. Maybe we can't. But we kind of say, well, where's it all going? I'll give you an example. I was going to show you a bunch of slides. I don't think I will. I think I have other reasons to talk about some things. And I'd like to get some of your reactions. But let's say, for example, let's look at, say, okay, now, with Internet of Things, Internet, let's say I'm a big corporation. I started an aerospace company with over 8,000 people. I've been in the business side of things a little bit. Neil Armstrong was on our board. But you look at it from the standpoint of a corporation. You say, look, with the internet now, I can hire top expertise from anywhere in the world, not have to pay them benefits. I can buy them by the hour, not by the yard. So I don't have to have a headquarter company located in a major city that's going to tax me through the gills like New York. Why would I do that? I don't have this big company. I can outsource a lot of my expertise. Besides, I'm not going to have as much expertise anyway. You know, I'm going to have the AI in the corner office. It's going to be a lot of decisions. So I can downsize in major cities. If cities if cities want to have a bargain and outsource, and you're providing those services with the internet, hey, I can provide those services anywhere. I can live near my kids in the suburbs. I can buy a larger home. You know, energy justice be hell. You know, I'm gonna live in my larger home. I'm gonna be with my kids and go to the PTA meetings. I'm gonna go and do some hunting or some fishing. I'm gonna live in a place where I want to live, maybe in the side of a mountain somewhere. And I can do that. I'm not limited anymore. I don't have to commute anymore. What's so bad about that? And I'm a hospital now, and I would think, well, why would I want to live in a metropolitan area where now people are moving out more to the suburbs? I can buy more affordable health care people that can't afford to pay urban prices. Nurses and others who can live where they want. Why would I locate my major facilities in major cities? They can be located, and I'm now a big box store. Why would I? And I'm having my boxes delivered by drones. Why would I want to live in a metropolitan area? I can move further out. Well, what does that do to a city? I'm a metropolitan city looking at it. I say, well, you know, the people when the the services. You know, so do the people who run the restaurants and depend upon this kind of activity. When they start not employing, would you imagine they might have a problem with some social unrest, maybe crime, where people no longer can afford these prices because now they've lost their service industry? So that being the case, what do the cities do? They're losing their tax base. We'll just annex you. I'll ask you, we'll just kind of take over you, and in the suburbs that are kind of in the middle here, they're in the middle sort of politically between the metropolitan areas and the suburban areas. You said, well, wait a minute, I'm not getting any of your services. Why should I be annexed by you when I'm not benefiting from it? And I think if you look at the political divide, a lot of it has been between the rural areas and the metropolitan areas. The rural areas and a lot of the suburbs have felt they're not getting their fair share. The benefits are going to the metropolitan areas. They're the ones that are the big money sinks. They're the ones that have the big politicians, the big draw. And the rural areas, they're eating screwed. I think that if we see a political divide now, I think it's only going to increase. And I don't know where that's going to go, but I think it's so now you have Silicon Valley. Are they socialists? Well, I guess so. Minimum basic income, that's going to help. That's certainly going to help a lot of folks. The financing has always been about income redistribution. If I morph into this a little bit, we had, if you look at climate trends, 2,000 years ago it was as warm as it was recently. It's called the Roman warm period. People walked around in togas for good reasons. 1,000 years ago it was a biblical warm period. Eric Red had the good sense to move his people to the grasslands of Greenland and raise sheep and goats. I spent a year in Greenland in the Air Force. I didn't see any sheep and goats. And then we had, fast forward, we had a little ice age that ended shortly after Washington's troops were at Valley Forge in 1777, and we had Napoleon leading Russia, freezing their butts off in 1812, and then it started gradually warming. So we've been warming at fits and starts now, since around 1870. Warmer zero was actually when I was born in 1938. I don't take any credit for it. And then we had World War II, and World War II put all this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Man, lots of carbon dioxide. What happened? We had 30 years of cooling. Imagine that. Until by the late 70s, they're saying, well, the glaciers are coming. New York Times, my God, terrible thing. Ice age is coming. 12 years later, we got Al Gore, the world's on fire. We got to pass the Kyoto Protocol. Why? Because we're causing climate change. It's crazy, guys. It's absolutely crazy. Lunacy. This has never been about science. It's been about politics. And somehow we're gonna replace. Try something. Ask Google or Siri and say, question, how much energy do we get from Minnesota? It's only a pretty simple question, right? We spend a lot for it. How much energy do we get from it? And it'll tell you, say, well, we get 37% of our, I can't remember, I think it was 37% of our electricity for renewables. I said, I didn't ask you that. Didn't ask about electricity, I didn't ask about renewables. I asked about energy. There's thermal units. And electricity is one of those four sectors. And then you peel back the onion and you say, well, renewables, how much wind and solar do we get from, how much renewables, wind and solar? Well, we get 40% of our electricity from biomass. It doesn't produce carbon dioxide, right? It's just biomass, right? Can't possibly produce biomass. Well, yeah, we can burn wood chips. Hey, that's okay. What's wrong with that? And then they say, well, we get maybe 20% from nuclear. Well, I don't know that. There's a lot of carbon dioxide. Then we get a significant amount of coal and natural gas. Comes down to it, we get like 4.5% of our electricity from wind and solar, but solar is like 1%. Energy-wise, we get about 3%. So we're going to get rid of 97% of what produces energy, and we're going to replace it with windmills and sun beams. So did you know that you know the lifespan of a windmill is for a winter? About 14 years. So you can plant these windmills, and you're going to pick worse and worse sites because you got to put these things together. And then you got to transmit that power across the country, and you have these transmission losses for something that's going to have to be replaced in 14 years. Wow, this is good science, right? All of this, guys, all of this connects together. We're at a time now where technology is moving so fast, and we're kind of, we can't uninvent it. And I want to tell you something. You talk about AI. The computers we have today are dumb compared to something with quantum computing. The ability to data mine information, data mine material, and archive it is astronomical. And now we have 5G coming in and so on. The technology, the smart technology is happening so fast. And there's kind of a question you say, well, I'm not even using my slides. I'm not going to do it today. With AI, we think of God is just really happening so fast. How do we keep up with it? And then especially now we're going to do implants. We're going to implant. We're going to put it in our brains, and we're going to be really, really smart. And, we'll be AI augmented. And then we say, well, it's no longer a question. You say, well, what is the role of humans? If machines and machine learning and we're creating systems that are smarter than we are, it kind of comes down to the point of saying, well, maybe we're obsolete. Maybe we're going to just pull a plug on ourselves right now. How can we possibly keep up with it? How can we be as smart as the stuff we're creating that's outsmarting us? Well, the people that are outsmarting us are the ones that control it. It's the one that control the algorithms. It's the one that the ones that we are creating a power that we've never imagined that can accomplish, I think, marvelous good things. But the catch-22 is the people that control that power. We've never put that kind of power in the hands of so few people. And then good conservatives like some of us are. I know Donald Trump. I've met him a few times and bragging, but I like the guy.
I love it.
And I think I'm so grateful. We also, I'll mention, we had a reception for Ted Cruz at our home, but I voted for Trump. And we're at a time now where our country, I think, our nation, our world, is at a precipice. And I don't think I was terribly political until I was one of the first people the Russians invited to come over after the Berlin Wall came down to visit their space program. I brought the first delegation over there to Russia to see their stuff, and what appalled me was, oh, a system of government can destroy every aspect of the culture. It made nothing work. The alcoholism. And I was with the elite of the elite in Russia, because the space program was their crown jewel. And I was with the top. And they were wonderful people, they're brilliant people. My director now that I hired is from Russia. My closest friend, they're marvelous people. But that system of government, socialism, communism, is diabolical. It's just diabolical what it can do to every aspect of society, destroying people's incentive, destroying their sense of if you're not rewarded for excellence, don't be excellent. And I think, so I hear people today talk about the Green New Deal. I remember, it wasn't so long ago, if you would call President Obama before he was president of the socialists, you'd have your mouth washed out with soap. Today's whole so bad about that. The lack of understanding of history in this country, the lack of understanding of the rest of the world. You want a Green New Deal? You go to Germany and look what they did. They built more wind power, wind non-power, than any other place. In the last few years, they have, 2,500 brownouts? You realize that for wind and solar that are intermittent, you have to have an equal amount of spending reserve of something that you can rely on. Guess what you can rely on? Coal and natural gas. And when you're having to adjust an ancient energy grid, we're Texas, we're lucky we have our own grid. I guess we're lucky. And you have to deal with this intermittent stuff. It's like driving your car in traffic. It's up and down, up and down. You're creating these turbines, and you're cranking them up and down to adjust for these fluctuations. You want to have energy efficiency, turn off the wind power. And we buy into this insanity of, it's free. It's not going to cost anything, right? Well, it costs us a lot. We can't afford it. I started this process, and started innocent enough. I'm not, with reinventing ourselves. The first book was sort of saying, my attempt to stand back from this and say, well, I feel like I'm in the same world that everybody is. Where is it going? How's it affecting us? How's social media affecting teenage suicides of young girls who are being, you have these trolls who will say body shaming and stuff, and these young people are developing attitudes about themselves. You have these hidden people out there saying malicious things, and kids can be really mean. And you have, you look at how it affects how social media, and we weaponize it ourselves. When we do things and we say something about somebody that you wouldn't say to your face, you're weaponizing that medium. And so, in a sense, it's an equal opportunity weapon. The second book, which is the one that I brought, and it'll be out, I think, I only got 6 copies of it, so I'm not sending it home with you yet. But that book just came out. It got a little darker because I'm thinking, well, yeah, and also with the weaponization, we're creating this instrument of influence and power. It's political power, it's financial power, it's power over information. I am appalled. There's certain subjects I do a lot of research on, and I know when they're being falsely reported in the media. I know about this stuff. Well, severe weather is getting more frequent. No, it's not. No, actually, no. Well, the ocean rise is accelerating. No, it's not. 7 inches per century last 200 years. Well, the West Antarctic ice sheet is melting through. Well, it's got a string of volcanoes under it. Been melting for a long time. Well, Greenland is melting. Well, Greenland goes through 60, 70-year oscillations called that North Atlantic Oscillation. Yeah? Warm schools. Climate's warming. Yeah, it's been warming since like 1870. It'll probably warm until the next little ice age. That's a lot of what the sun does, because the sun goes through cycles. We came out of cycle 25 with the lowest number of sunspots we've seen in 100 years. Coming into cycles 26 now, and these are magnetic changes that affect that occur in the sun. They happen occasionally. They happen during a little ice age, called the Mount minimum at that time. That's about 300 years. I hope we're not going into another one. But what happens is that the sunspot means that the solar winds that block cosmic rays that come from deep space are diminished. It's kind of like a sun shield. So more cosmic rays enter into the helios or into the sun's neighborhood, into our neighborhood, into the geomagnetic sphere of the Earth. Nucleate cloud, clouds of 8 kilometers up, and bounces more infrared energy back into space signal. And we have a cooling period. And it's not quite that simple, but it's certainly a factor. So a lot of the things, there has never been anyone that can measure the effect of human influence on the planet. Do we have an influence on the planet? Yeah, farming does. Deforestation does. We change the albedo of how much IR is reflected back into space. So a lot of things we do. But, should we give up agriculture? And it's warming bad, Seems to me we built more pyramids and businesses during warm periods than we did during the Ice Age. Whoever we was, because I think, not a lot of people around during the Ice Age. Kind of chilly. Got to bundle up, and you got to kill a lot of mastodons. Do something. Mastodons are hard to kill, I think, especially with spears. And you don't have industry to create the spear food. You have to use wood spears, I think. But I'm not that old. But we look at how the most outrageous misstatements can be made by leading political candidates, and they won't be fact checked. All you got to do is look at NOAA records, and look at the Galveston hurricane turn of the century was no walk in the park. And can you imagine how many people would have died in Galveston with the populations that they have there today, or anywhere else? And we do a lot of dumb stuff to get people killed during hurricanes because we give them low government paid insurance to move their homes to the coast. We put them in harm's way, and we reimburse them when they get hit. So all of these things I'm talking about are interconnected. There's no simple solution to any of them. And it's kind of like extreme weather. It really hurts when it hits you. And there are times when we look at how the impact of AI, for example, on careers. It's going to create jobs, just like the Industrial Revolution does. It's going to take away jobs. There'll be a lot of buggy whip manufacturers that go out of business, but the new generation buggy whip makers. There's going to be a great alignment of these things. But with your children and your grandchildren, you've got to begin to think, well, we've got to rethink not only what they're going to be doing in their lives. I think we need to think, what is it about us as humans that makes us worth hanging around? And at what point, what is it about us? Maybe it has something to do with values. Maybe it has something to do with empathy. Maybe it has something to do with, maybe humanity is something we need to really reinvestigate. We need to really take a look at. What is it that makes us worthwhile? What is it that makes life worthwhile? I'm still sorting that out. When I write, it's an attempt to try to sort things out. I don't have the answers. I'm not that smart. But I thought about a lot of stuff. And maybe the things I'm thinking about, and I suspect they are the same things you think about. Where's all this going? I know friends who are my age and say, well, it doesn't matter. I'm old. I'm going to grow pretty soon. And I'm not going to be around. I won't see it. Yeah, but our kids are going to see it. And we plant the seed, and we plant the tree we don't see grow. I think that's what we do as humans. I think we look beyond, and I can tell you the liberals are looking beyond. They got a long-term plan. They got a very long-term plan. They're cultivating young leaders and young politicians. They're in all they're in it for the long haul. We've been pretty naive, and I find that kind of scary. I brought some books today. The Reinventing Ourselves book. Here's the deal. I'll sign the books that I have. I brought some. I don't think maybe take it to 2 or 3 home. I can't give you the new book because I don't have enough copies of it yet. I will sign them and give them to you free. But there's a catch. I would like you to write a review, an honest review. And again, the book has to earn it, okay? And post a review on the book, because the best way you can help, the book can help a lot of this is for the book to get out. Because there will be trolls that will attack the book. And like they do everything else. They're organized. And having readership and having, it's nice when a comment sounds sincere. In one sentence, 2 sentences, whatever. So I will be happy to give you copies of the book. Believe me, I'm not in this for the money. The reason I came here tonight, as much as anything, this county is a dynamite county. The civic pride you have, the civic motivation you have, is exemplified, I know, in particularly the people I met here the last time, and the people I met here briefly tonight in Georgia. Everything that matters is grassroots. It's people getting about, people caring, people having passionate interest in where things are going. You mentioned tonight 1% state tax, and how durable that's going to be. We live in a slippery slope world. I write about gun control. I write about a lot of other things, and these are critical times. I think they're exciting times. I've never been more excited and frightened simultaneously. And I think a lot of my fear is we tend to fear things we don't understand. There's a natural kind of fear of change. I'm guilty of that. Things will probably turn out a whole lot better than any of us could have imagined. But it's going to take a little help. And so, thank you for inviting me tonight. I don't know how I did on time.
Questions? I got the mic here. Just raise your hand and I'll come to you.
2 unrelated questions. I've got a friend that believes in conspiracy theories, but he told me one thing that is believable, and I think you mentioned something about the sun. He calls it a grand solar minimum. Is that a term?
Yeah.
Do any of your books address that, or do you?
Yes, I talk about it quite a lot in my first 2 books. One was Climate and Corruption, Politics and Power Behind the Global Warming Hoax. I talk about that to some extent. The second book that I wrote is called Scared Witless, Prophets and Prophets of Climate Doom. prophets is in Al Gore prophets, and prophets is in Al Gore prophets. But it talks about this, and I sort of briefly mentioned when I saw about the little ice age was a period when there was a grand solar minimum, where again it was observed of low numbers of sunspots.
Do we have reason to believe that may bring back the same situation?
There's always the question of causation versus correlation. And there's a correlation of this that happened during the little ice age. But one of the interesting things was that of all the climate models, one of the biggest disprovers of climate is you look at these wild projections, and none of them matched anything. They certainly didn't match the satellite records or the radio sound, which are the balloon records. But the only climate model that came close was the one that looked at solar activity. And it came much closer to predicting what we've really been seeing. One of the things that's so nutty, the climate models, they're supposed to be so smart. They don't know. Climate's very chaotic, and even the famous Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change knows this. Some of the stuff happens on hundreds of thousands of year cycles. Like, where is our solar system with respect to the Milky Way galaxy? That's the areas and so on. And then it has to do with the Earth wobbling and changing, where the sun falls on the surface. And then there's then we have we have anomalies like, you have a meteor hit, and it kicks up a lot of dust, and you wind up losing a few pet dinosaurs.
So if I get get your first two books, is it the first two books?
Yeah.
I can get some ammunition to speak truth to the liars about
Well,
climate?
you can also, I've written hundreds of articles, not on climate, but you'll see, even in the last couple of months. Oh, the other thing, if you put down, and then I forgot, this is very important. With your name and your address, please put down your email. I put out a listing, a new article every week that I write. And if you go back just this past few months, you'll see that I write a lot on these kind of subjects. I also wrote about the fabled consensus, which doesn't exist. That fabled consensus of all, that was 29 people in that consensus. And I would have answered every single question affirmative. Do humans have some influence on climate change? Well, yeah, I think butterflies' wings probably do. We just can't measure it. Has the climate warmed since 1850? Yeah, sure has. And it'll probably continue to warm in fits and starts till the next little ice age or major ice age, depending on which one comes next. So every one of those questions, everyone I know would have answered yes. A close friend of mine, I just mentioned, Will Happer, professor emeritus from Princeton. He'd gone to Washington. He's worked for the Trump administration as Trump's science advisor. Will is one of the most committed people. I know so many committed scientists. I know someone ought to be committed to. But Will, and more than a couple of them at Texas A&M, I won't mention. But Will's the nicest guy I ever meet, and he's an astrophysicist. And he was pushing for a debate on the science, on climate. He did two sides of the debate. And the crazies went crazy. Well, how can we debate this? It's settled. Well, it's settled. Why do you worry about debate? I told Will, I said, no, Will, they'll hijack you. these people are bulldozers. They're absolutely without ethics, and including the ones at A&M. And they will absolutely smash you. They'll trot out their credentials. They'll trot out their credentials of those models that don't work. That's their credentials. And they'll hijack it. Well, Will just turned 80, and he said, I kind of think I've had enough. And so Will left the White House. I will tell you, he wasn't fired. And I'm sure he'll be welcome back. But you reach a point where you just, you can't handle it anymore. And there's a lot of people in the White House that are big obstacles. I don't fault Trump. I think he's got enough wars on his hands without taking on the climate crazies. He just doesn't need that. And the climate stuff has so many moving parts. You can't, it's not something you can argue with soundbites. If I run a graph in an article, a lot of people today will say, well, it's complicated. I'm not going to read that. People are intimidated today. We're so afraid of science. You put a graph in something and say, well, no, it's too technical. And so and the dilemma is, how do you explain things? On one hand, you don't want to dumb things down and insult the readers. On the other hand, if you sound halfway technical on something, you lose readers. The left has become absolutely wonderful at weaponizing vocabulary, weaponizing words. They put a semi-automatic weapon that they conflate with automatic weapons. There's nothing they can't conflate. I love the last one. It's now, we can't sell weapons of war. That's great. Weapons of war. Let's get rid of BNS and whatever. I can't sell landmines anymore, I guess. What a shame. But this weaponization of language is just terrible. Go ahead.
Question.
I have a remark. First of all, I had friends, they're greenies. A family of 14 visit Italy this summer. They rented a villa because of the size of the group. The owner of the villa came in near the end of their visit and told them they owed extra money because they had used too much energy, too much air conditioning, so they needed to pay more.
He's coming here.
Yes. So
And we call it energy justice. It was climate justice before.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, then how about that caldera? We're gone.
The what?
The caldera at Yellowstone Park. Here.
That volcano?
The volcano at Yellowstone Park that's going to erupt. It's over the where it's.
Well, what
What about
volcanoes?
that? I mean, it's
What
gonna-
volcanoes do? They create cooling
Right.
because they put particulates into the atmosphere that
Right.
reflect more energy back to space. And
What about our children, grandchildren who are in school, who are learning how to grow vegetable gardens rather than learning the ABCs, Common Core? I mean, they're going to take care of us. All they know about is the climate. That's all they know. Your remarks, please.
I mentioned that the left has, when I say the left, I'm talking about socialists. And socialists is too nice a word for them.
Yes.
And it's too generous a word for them. And they have a very long-term plan. They were very smart. They went after the Hollywood. They went after the universities. They've gone after certainly going after political offices. They captured the media, and there's very little distinction between Hollywood media anymore. But there's another side of this that I think there's a good side of it. You don't see people reading newspapers anymore. Mostly their emails. So hopefully read my stuff. But now you have choices of where you get information, and you get it immediately. I think more and more, because there's so much noise out there, you learn to trust certain people. I think it used to be that certain media companies and so on where Walter Cronkite or whatever, now is, if he said it, something in the newspaper must be right, in the past. Today we realize it's not true anymore. Fake news is really fake news. And you can be as fake as you want. And nobody's going to fact check you. You can say anything you want. Most extreme weather we've ever had was freedom. Oh, really? But now you have alternate sources, of people, and you say, yeah, I'm supposed to be, I'm not sure, I'm supposed to be on Michael Savage tomorrow, so on. So I don't have time to listen to radio because I'm on my city.
Larry, in that regard, you talk about fake news. Could you address the issue of the influence that Google has in terms of artificial intelligence and how they are managing to affect the voting of the American public?
Well, all these search engines, and I'd say all of them. My wife gets on my case about Google. She said, why are you still Googling things? Right now, I have AT&T, and it came and said, I said, right now. So I said, word. Sorry, I'm already on. So they have tremendous power. They have, when you Google something, it pulls up alternative sources. The sources they pull up, check those sources. They're all tend to be leaning one direction. One of the most weaponized is Wikipedia, where I know, they go in. They have certain people are licensed to do these. They've gone in and slimed scientists I know, slimed their resumes, and the guy that's doing that, Clyde, he did thousands of them. A lot of close friends of mine. Kind of mixed message. I'm on Wikipedia now. I never asked to be. And then you can give sources of things I've said. And not the most. A lot of those sources don't like conservatives very much. So I Google something. I looked at some sources. Damn, I said that. Wow, that's pretty cool. But it's rampant. And my wife says, well, you've got to use Bing. You've got to, can you trust Chrome? I don't know. The algorithms are powerful because they determine what you see, what sequence you see things. It pulls up 2 or 3 pages of the other side before you get to page 5 where you can find something that really addresses the question you asked. So the things I'm talking about tonight, you all know them already. Yeah.
What about military applications of artificial intelligence?
One of the scary things, and
Can we
this,
hear the question again?
well, he was talking about military applications of artificial intelligence. The book I'm writing right now is darker than the one I just finished, because it's about cyber warfare. It's about planting bugs in other people's grids. Well, North Korea is not too worried about planting a bug in their grid. They don't have a grid. And one of the things about cyber warfare with AI and so on is, it's a lot of it's based on things connected to the internet globally, where you plant these little bugs in there. We've planted bugs in everybody else's grid too. but the thing is, you don't have to be a powerful country anymore to buy hackers. North Korea is getting kids out of elementary school and grooming them. And they have automatically, they percolate up into the universities. And then they work, and some of them go to the United Nations and they take correspondence, take online courses from our universities, and it's and so, but what's really scary is the ability to torpedo a power grid with these distributed disruptive attacks, where they overload the servers and the control systems, but also the financial systems. The more digital we are, they hack into a bank. When they hack into a bank in your account, your bank's connected to all the other banks in the world. We're no longer compartmentalized. There's no such thing as local anymore. All this stuff connects together. And so the ability to do, and same with communications, shutting down communication systems. And then you look at using algorithms for disinformation and propaganda machine campaigns. Now they've gotten so good now, we have, or the world has, or technology has, where you can simulate someone speaking in another language to make it look exactly like they're speaking. Can you imagine the propaganda capability to project somebody as having said something that they didn't say? For propaganda purposes, it's but talking the military, there's another side of the military thing. The military is connected to the same internet that we are. Everyone else is. You shut down the internet, you shut down the grids. You just shut down the military. And then there's the question, well, should they have their own internet? And we have the questions, well, what about these social media companies that won't cooperate with the military and intelligence? And you say, well, yeah, but other people say, well, yeah, what if they do cooperate? People talk about WikiLeaks like it's a good thing. They just took every virus that came out of National Science and NSA and just gave it to the world. Every nasty little bug was released. Is that heroism? You said, well, we didn't get it from a government source. No, Russia doesn't use government sources. They use their so-called patriotic hackers. It's just like the green guys they put everywhere else. They're not really military. They're really civilians, right? Sure they are. Just like their hackers are. So this, there aren't any simple answers. The next book, I don't write stuff to scare the hell out of myself, and I'm doing a pretty good job of it. But it's the new world we're in now. We can't believe every hurricane's going to wipe us out. We can't live in constant doom and dire. Wouldn't you think, if you're saying the world's not on fire and climate, global warming's not going to kill us all, wouldn't you think that'd be good news? Gosh, how can you be a bad person for not shouting fire in a theater? You say, guys, don't panic, there's no fire in the theater. Yet, the guilt is a powerful tool for weaponization. It's the straw thrust on the side of the whale. It's the virtue signaling. I love Bambi more than you do. And if you don't love Bambi as much as I do, then you won't pay for this windmill I want to build.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you are not a fan of the climate change walkout for students tomorrow. That's tomorrow, right? Is it tomorrow? UN organized students walk out for climate change, a million students.
I don't know, let's, one part of me, and I hate this part of me, is that, God, I hope it gets cold. The other part of me says, that's kind of like saying you hope Trump's economy craters so that you'll vote for us, you know.
Like Bill Maher.
Yeah, and you think, well, damn, I wish they get over this stuff. Yeah. One final word. I came from the Midwest. I don't like cold weather. I spent a year in Greenland. I don't like cold weather. I was in the faculty at the University of Illinois for 10 years. I had a program there. I don't like cold weather. And I'm embarrassed. I didn't come to Houston, Texas until a little over 40 years ago, which is not half my lifetime ago. I waited too long, and I deeply regret that. But I like warm weather, and I love Texas.
All right, fantastic. Excellent discussion today. We want to give you enough time to sign a few books if you're still good with that.
I'm sorry I rambled so much tonight.
One more question.
In your opinion, on weaponizing the internet, what do you feel is the biggest threat to our rights, our Bill of Rights, our Third, Fourth, and Fifth Amendment? Do you feel that we're going to have problems?
The biggest threat that I see, the most immediate one, is something that you people have been dealing with for some time. Smart cities. You know, the notion that we're gonna have everything connected together. It gives awesome power for control. And they say, yeah, but look at, we're gonna make it more efficient. You know, you can call in your car and it'll set your thermostat for you, and you'll get there and the coffee will be brewed, and it's gonna be wonderful. Well, somebody else is gonna set your thermostat. And you're gonna have to buy your coffee from some country that's approved. I see this as insidious, but I see it as a continuation. It's a continuation of Agenda 21. It's a continuation of the energy of the climate fraud. They say, well, you know, you're a denier. You don't believe climate change. I've never met anyone in my life who doesn't believe climate changes. Have you ever met anyone who doesn't believe climate changes? The question is it emergency? The question is it worse if the climate gets warmer or worse when it gets colder? The ocean's rise has not accelerated. That's the big boot. That's the big terrible thing. You know, it's going to flood Al Gore's property in Encino, California. And Obama's new $17 million what the hell is woman. It's kind of, and I love this one recommendation. We're gonna provide X number of $1 billion so that these people that live in these areas can relocate their homes. I think, well, that's gotta give Obama a lot of comfort. And Al Gore, that's a lot of house to move. So I see the smart city thing, and it goes with sustainability. Oh, aren't we sustainable? And I see energy justice, which is phase 2 of climate justice. And it's going to be, it's real. And when you allow a camera to be put at a stoplight, when you allow people coming into Manhattan to have facial recognition cameras, photographing them and data mining them, so by the time they get to the other end of the tunnel, anyone that's got a record of an infraction gets snapped on the other side of the tunnel. And now some people get smart, they turn their head, so they, now I heard they're using facial recognition to be able to recognize your ear.
Why can't we use that for voting?
Huh?
Why can't we use that for voting?
I would think so.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Thank you so much for being here this evening. We really appreciate it. We'll let you get the instruments in the back and side. We really appreciate it. Didn't need it. Man in this neat slides. God bless you.
Well, I brought them. I wanted to show you I was prepared, that I didn't take this opportunity lightly, so I put all these slides together, and then I just got off on a tangent.
Awesome. A couple of other points. I want to say a special shout out to the City of Fort Worth Police Department, who was here to protect and serve us. And they watched over the front, especially John Siegel, who's always a great member of the group. We do have our next meeting in October. We have some amazing stuff planned. The great speaker will be announcing that very soon. And I think that's it. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. Make sure to pick up a book. Donations are welcome. Have a great evening.